If you can turn on the stress response just by thought alone, and the hormones of stress give the brain and body a rush of energy, and people become conditioned or addicted like junkies to those emotions, then would you agree with me then? If you can turn on that stress response just by thought alone, that you can become addicted to your own thoughts. Yes or no? And if the hormones of stress are highly addictive and you're using your boss or your coworker or your sister-in-law or your finances to reaffirm your addiction to that emotion, is it possible you become addicted to the life you don't even like? Yes or no? And this is why change is so hard. And if you can turn on the stress response just by thought alone, and the hormones of stress downregulate genes to create disease, then your thoughts could make you sick. Yes or no? So okay, let's go out on a limb here. If your thoughts could make you sick, is it possible that your thoughts could make you well? Okay. So then that means then that you would have to start a process of no longer drawing from this invisible field of vital energy and turning it into chemistry and diminishing your own light field. When you do that over time in chronic stress, and you keep drawing from this invisible field of energy and turning it into chemistry, you have no light field. Yes or no? Yes. Come on. Yes. So now you're more matter and less energy, more particle and less wave. And in fact, the hormones of stress cause you to narrow your focus on objects and things and people, because that's where the danger is. And when the hormones of stress kick in and your brain waves go into high beta and you're aroused, you're going to pay attention to your outer world, and you're no longer going to want to believe in your inner world of possibility. Are you with me still? And if the survival gene is switched on, then you won't want to go in, close your eyes and create, because it's not a time to create. It's not a time to focus on the unknown. It's a time to prepare yourself for what could be lurking behind those corners. And it's not a time to learn. It's not a time to open your heart. It's not a time to be vulnerable. It's not a time to sit still. It's a time to run, to fight, or to hide. And people spend the majority of their life living by these hormones. And those hormones cause us to become materialists, using our senses to define reality. And if you can't see it, you can't hear it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, you can't feel it, it doesn't exist. And all of a sudden, people all of a sudden give up possibility. And now, when they're more matter than energy, they will try to force outcomes, control outcomes, predict outcomes, fight for outcomes, because they are matter trying to change matter. Are you with me still? And as people begin to try to control and predict all the different things in their life when they're aroused by these chemicals, each person, each object, each thing, each place, each experience has a neurological network in their brain because they've experienced them already. Yes or no? And as they shift their attention from one person to one problem or one thing, they start activating these different circuits over and over again. And all of a sudden, if you measure that in the brain gets highly incoherent. It's a house divided against itself. And when your brain is incoherent, you're incoherent. And when your brain isn't working right, you're not working right. And at the exact same time, when this vital energy is being drawn and turned into chemistry, the heart, the center of oneness, the center of wholeness, your first step to divinity right here, the bridge, your connection to the unified field, it loses its energy, and all of a sudden it starts to beat very incoherently. The emotions of resentment and impatience and hatred and violence cause the heart all of a sudden to no longer be in balance. And all of a sudden we no longer trust our heart. What we want to do is protect ourselves from everyone and everything in our life, and we no longer trust. And if you can't trust in the unknown, then it doesn't exist. And people understand when they're living by the hormones of stress unconsciously to run from the unknown. Because the unknown you can't predict, and it's being in that state of the unknown and not being able to predict your future that actually creates the stress response. So nobody takes a chance and possibility. And everybody's waiting for everybody to do it. Are you with me still? And when you narrow your focus on matter and on objects and things and people, you're focusing on the particle in quantum physics, and you're eliminating the wave of possibility. And where you place your attention is where you place your energy. And if all of your attention is on matter, then energy doesn't exist from you, and you will feel separate from the field. You will live in lack. And you will say, I feel empty, and I need that thing to make me feel better. And once I get that thing, I'm going to experience the emotion of it, and when I get it, then it's going to make me feel better. But when the novelty wears off, here comes the emptiness again. So then you say, I'm in lack again. I need one of those. So then you got to go to work, and you got to drag your body through space. And when you drag your body through space, you experience time. So then you got to go back and forth to work to make the money to pay for the thing that's going to fulfill some lack. But it never does. Are you with me still? And people then, all of a sudden, after 30 years, they have their car, they have their house, they have their relationship, and they're too exhausted to enjoy it. Are you with me still? And that's called normal.